Hello there, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Gabe, and today I am standing, which is a little different, but I thought it would be a different kind of a day. Today, I want to give you a review of a game that I absolutely adore and think that you should play as well. This game is Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze for the Nintendo Switch. Now, the first thing I want to do is give you some background information on this game. This game originally released on the Wii U back in 2014 and got a re-release in 2018 for the Nintendo Switch. Now, this game was co-developed by Monster Games and by Retro Studios. Monster Games has made things like Excite Bike and also Donkey Kong Country 3D for the 3DS. And Retro Games has made games such as the Metroid Prime trilogy, as well as other Donkey Kong series entries. When they re-released this game, it was basically the exact same thing as the Wii U version, but in this one they added Funky Mode. Now, this game does usually retail for about $59.99, but occasionally it'll go on sale for cheaper, and you know that we love sales. So, if you can, pick it up on sale. If not, this game is absolutely 100% worth a full price tag if you haven't played it before. I adore this game, and I'll tell you why. I think the level design in this game is one of the best I've ever seen ever, okay? They, and this is a platformer game, okay, so which means it's similar to Mario where you're jumping and 2D side-scrolling to the end of the level from point A to B. Now, that being said, they put such exquisite attention to detail that it is so much fun to look at. As you are going through the levels, right, and completing them, you are going to be taking in both the foreground and the background because there are so many things happening at the same time. You may be going along the foreground, okay, and jumping and platforming and whatnot, and in the background, something completely different is happening, like an island is forming or a volcano is erupting, and you actually get to see that in the background, which then occasionally will affect the foreground. Now, the art style in general is something that I loved because just of how colorful it was, and anything with colors, especially a lot of colors, is gonna suck me in pretty quickly. That being said, though, they do a really good job, level by level, completely creating a world within its own within each level. Now, the structure of the game goes with several different worlds, and within each world you have different levels, different stages, okay? Each world is fairly self-contained and has its own theme with a boss at the end that sort of dictates the theme of that world, and then the levels inside of it really do a good job of expanding upon that theme. Some games don't do this very well, but this one certainly does. I know we talked about in Super Mario 3D World, where they have overworld themes, such as a desert theme to that world, but within that, the levels are fairly different, and so you get less of all desert levels clumped into one, and a little bit of each thing within that one world. I liked that approach so that you don't get tired of it, but I don't believe there was one single time in here that I was tired of a level. I thought all of the levels were geniusly crafted and very fun to play. Now, there were a couple that were a little hard to control or didn't have checkpoints, but those were primarily the extra levels, the extra challenge levels, so we can say. These ones come at the end of the stages and are specifically meant to test you. So I remember one that I probably played 100 times where it was a minecart, and I obviously wanted to get all of the letters in there because, as with the previous games, you can get K, O, and G for the letters to collect those. You also get puzzle pieces, and so I wanted to get all of those. If I missed one, there was no checkpoint in this one level, and so I would constantly be jumping off the edge if I missed it, or just out of pure, miscalculating a jump, I would jump off the edge. It was extremely difficult and fairly tedious, but I really enjoyed it. There wasn't a single point where I wasn't enjoying playing that level. So hopefully that it says something to you about the quality of this game. Now you can play this game both as one player and two player, so if you have somebody that you are interested in playing with, you could absolutely give them their own set of Joy-Cons, or you can split the Joy-Cons and use them that way as well. It's a lot of fun to play by yourself, that's how I did it, but I also played a few levels with Julianne, and we had a lot of fun there. So in this game, you can play as Donkey Kong, and then you have three friends of Donkey Kong, Cranky Kong, Diddy Kong, and Dixie Kong, who you can have as your pals. Cranky Kong has a club which he can use to spike himself off of spikes and dangerous enemies. Diddy Kong is able to give you an extra little boost. And then finally, you can play as Dixie Kong. And Dixie Kong is very similar to Diddy Kong in that she can float, but she actually uses her ponytail and it gives her a little bit of a lift, whereas Diddy Kong is a pretty straight line when he hovers. Also, Dixie Kong allows you to propel yourself in the water and allows you to get to some places that you can't otherwise reach without her. And finally, you can play as Funky Kong in the all-new Funky mode. And I absolutely 100% encourage you to use Funky mode if you are having trouble with a level. It is not worth getting stressed out over a level because you can't do it. These levels are somewhat challenging, and so if there's one that just really is rough, absolutely use Funky Kong to help you. Funky Kong has a surfboard, and he's able to go over spikes. He isn't really affected by enemies, and it just makes the entire experience a little bit easier. And there is nothing wrong with that. I want to reiterate that there is nothing wrong with making a game a little bit easier so that you get more enjoyment out of it. One level is not worth screwing up the whole rest of your game. So use Funky Kong mode. He's also a lot of fun to use in general. I actually went back to a couple of levels just to play him and see what it was like, and he is ridiculous. The music is fun. It's just a goofy time with Funky Kong because he's got his shades on. It's fun to check it out. Speaking of the music, it is amazing. I love whoever composed this music. I find myself listening to the soundtrack on YouTube quite often, actually, and it's such a good pump-up blend of stuff. It helps you get through your day, I have found. The music does a good job of emphasizing the levels, right? It doesn't detract from the levels. I think it just adds to the levels and how the levels overall come together, which is something you want in a musical score. It's never fun when the music detracts from the level or takes you out of the zone. This one, there's a lot of bongos, it's kind of jungle themed, but also there are some other elements to it like jingle bells because the world ends up being frozen. It's really well done, and I highly recommend you check out the music as well. This is the final thing I'll say about this game, and I believe that this is truly the testament of a good game, is that since I beat this game, well, since I first played it and then beat it in 2020, which was about a year ago, it continues to play on my mind. I continue to want to go back to this game and replay it. And that is not something that I typically like doing, because once I play a game, I know how it ends, and I don't really feel the need to go back and play it. Some people I know will play Portal or Portal 2 every year, and it's just kind of a cyclical thing. I'm not like that. This game, however, I am like that. I've gone back and played this game, even though I've beaten it 100%. I've gone back and played this game because it is just so much fun. And I really truly believe that if you can get me to go back after the game is finished to play it again, that is a great game. So this was honestly, I was able to complete 12 games in 2020, and that was my goal, 12 games in 12 months. This one might have been my favorite. This one was so incredibly good. There was, of course, Animal Crossing and whatnot, but this one just absolutely took the cake on my expectations, and I was so thoroughly impressed. I would highly, highly, highly recommend you check out this game. If you like platformers, you are going to like this game. It is great. This is the last thing I'll say about it. It's one of the best platformers out there right now. All right, thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. I will see you next week. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.